Hello everybody. Say hi, Balky. This is Balky boy. Today we're going to talk to you about foraging and enrichment toys. I was going to see if he might demonstrate how he likes to open some of these enrichment toys, but he may not because it's during the day and he's like, I want to go back to bed. Hey, hey, Balky. Balky. Hello. Hello, you want that? No? Okay, that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what we typically do. You wanna go in there? Go in there? Whoop, sorry bud, there you go. I have my no-sew pouch in my shirt, so that's where he's going. So I do a few different things. Foraging is one of my sugar glider's favorite things to do. And so I do a few different ways, and some of them I haven't really seen a whole lot of other people do, so I thought I'd show you guys. One of them is these little tooth savers that you can get. I got like 145 or something like that on Amazon. And you just put, a couple little treats in there. Sometimes I'll put like a drop of honey, and then you just hide them. It's like hide and seek throughout the cage. So I just hide them wherever there's a spot to hide them through the cage, just like you would hide a treat for foraging. The other thing that I do is I have these little toothbrush let me see if I can get one that doesn't have stuff in it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so they're like this. They're toothbrush covers, like for traveling. There's two different versions. This is the more expensive version, these guys. They're more sturdy and they last longer. They really stay closed easier. And then there's also this version that you can get in bulk. What I've found though is that you end up throwing quite a few of them away because they don't stay closed, they just pop open. But what you do is you put a couple little treats in there, and then you fill it with a straw that you have used the wacky whirly. So this is just a regular straw. You get a wacky whirly tool, or you can use a pencil sharpener. It's hard for me to come up with that word, sorry. Pencil sharpener, and you get it all. You could also use a piece of fleece. I just like the straws because they're easier to clean. You have to have a lot of dry time, But you take, so in here, if they have to pull this out, and then they get the treat inside. So it makes them work for the treat a little bit more, which I like. Foraging is one of all three of mine's favorite things to do. And so, but I also don't want them, I already have one that's kind of chubby, and I don't want them to get overweight any more than they already are, but I also want them to be stimulated and have a lot of enrichment at nighttime. So I try to make them work for their treats that they get. So that's one of my main things. The other thing is to take these little Easter eggs. And I know a lot of you have seen these, but I do something a little bit different because mine just cannot figure out how to get the stinking Easter egg open. I've tried drilling extra holes in there so they can smell. It just doesn't work. They can't figure it out. So what I do is I do the same thing. I fill it with the wacky whirly straws. So they actually have to pull out the straws. So like this whole egg is full of wacky whirly straws, and there's a couple treats in there. So they really have to work for it. And then I also do these, they're called Snacky Mice. And I used to just put the treats in there and they kind of wobble. It's actually a cat toy. They're called Snacky Mice. You can also get these on Amazon. And then I shove them full of wacky whirly straws and some treats in there. So they have to pull all of that out. And I don't put these in, I usually just put these on the bottom of the cage so it really moves around, so it makes it more complicated for them. I used to just put the treats in there without the straws, but it's just too easy, and then they just get a bunch of treats, and I want to make it more challenging for them. And so then what I do is I just keep a toy box, like a bin like this. You want to be careful that if it's a thing that has holes, that the holes are smaller than 1 inch or bigger than 2 inches so that they don't get their little head stuck. These are safe holes. And then at nighttime, so these are all ones that they've torn apart, seriously, every night. This is like 2 or 3 days worth. And what I do, probably 3 days worth. What I do is I take, so I'll get this ready for tonight. I take this, you know, ones that I've already pre-done, and I bury it in there so that they really have to, so see, I have a bunch of these that I've already done. I keep like a done, so like I'll just take all the supplies and I'll sit and, you know, watching a TV show, I'll just stuff treats. So I have like a ton, so that way at nighttime, I'm not stuffing treats, I'm just grabbing a handful of whatever, and then I'm hiding them in the bowl that they've already used. So basically it's like a toy box, but a foraging toy box. And then what makes it easy, ooh, nice tattoo, Dom. Honey, I'm doing a video right now. Do you want to show them your tattoo? Yeah. This is my son, Dominic. Say hi, Dominic.
Hello.
Okay, now I'll talk to you about it in a minute.
Yeah, Mom, that's not what I'm supposed to
Dommy.
be, but it's kind of cool because it looks like his mouth got cut.
Yeah, cool, okay. Sorry. So now I can just take this and wash it and then dry it, and then it's all all foraging stuff. So then I can just put it in. I have this little storage bin that I use. So I have one thing that says treat hiders, one thing that says, or two things that say treat hiders, and then one that's just for stuffing. So treat hiders, oh, see, that one's empty. Treat hiders and stuffing. So then I just put it back in so they're ready to reassemble. I also take the little teeth hider ones and I hide it in like their ball pit, but I don't just leave it on top, I bury it in there. So that gives them something to like hunt for, you know, because sugar gliders naturally in the wild, they forage, they hunt for insects and tree sap and things like that. They're working for their food. So they actually get a lot of enrichment out of that process. So the other thing that I do is I've taken a couple of these little balls, ones that have safe hole spacing. This is just a wiffle ball that has, it's like the slats, not the big holes. It has slats all the way around. And then I just took pieces of fleece and I tied them on, and then I just shoved them in. Sometimes I use tweezers, especially if my fingernails are short, but you just shove all the pieces of fleece in. And then once you have most of the fleece in there, then you add your treats inside the wiffle ball, and then they just go to town. They just pull all these out. So it's a really fun, really one of these balls with my foraging trio lasts maybe 10 minutes, but they get a thrill out of it. I don't put it in there every night because it's more labor intensive to do that. And then I just take it out so that it doesn't get covered in pee and poo. You know, I take it out the next day, and then when I have a chance to fill it back up, then I do that. So at the end, when you've stuffed all these in, it's a nice tight ball that has a bunch of fleece, and then they just pull all the fleece. And so they really only get a couple treats in here, but they're getting a lot of exercise and stimulation from pulling all of that. So that's one of my other things that I really love to do. I also just take any little cups or things like that. Sometimes I'll put little drops of honey or little treats in around the cage. I do that less because then they don't have to work for it as much, but if I can really hide it, then I feel like that's worth it. They're really working for that too. So anyway, that's what I do for the most part for my enrichment foraging toys. So I hope that was helpful. The Snacky Mice, you can find these on Amazon. You can also find the tooth hiders on Amazon, or the toothbrush covers on Amazon, and the teeth hiders on Amazon. The obviously Easter eggs you can find pretty much anywhere, but you do have to use a Dremel to drill a hole. You could probably use a drill with a really large bit, but I don't know if that would work. I used a Dremel. Just make sure the hole is nice and small so their snout can kind of get in there, but nowhere near close enough for their head to get stuck. You want them to be able to kind of reach their hand in and use their snout to pull the stuff out. So these holes are not very big. They're like kind of the size of my pinky. So anyway, hope that was helpful, and be sure to subscribe if you like these videos. I'll be adding more every week or every 2 weeks at least, until I can get a really big variety for you guys. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to comment below. Thanks. Have a great day.